What is up, Collider Arrowheads? We're back here for another Collider Arrow recap show. We have some very special guests tonight in our Flash Arrow crossover episode. I'm Josh Macuga. We're breaking it down, guys. Episode 2 of the Flaro crossover. Let's start at the end here with my usual co-host, Mr. Jason Inman. What's up, buddy?
Hi, how's it going? I'm excited to be part of the Superhero Justice League of Collider recap shows.
Yes. And to his right.
Hey, guys. My name is Michael Medina. I'm really excited at our guest tonight.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
And to my left, we have the lovely Kaori.
Hey, everybody. I'm excited to be here on the Arrow recap show talking crossovers.
And you've been here a couple times. You're usually on the Flash, but you're here tonight on Arrow. And we have a man that said he would never come back on an Arrow recap show based solely on Laurel being Black Canary. Ladies and gentlemen, that's John Campea.
What the fuck is going on? Hell has frozen over. Hi, guys. Good to be here.
Guys, you can always tweet at us, hashtag it, hashtag Collider Arrow. We've got some great Twitter questions. We had a great episode tonight. I guess we'll just start with everybody's overall reaction to the episode. We'll start with Jason.
I actually thought that part 1 was way better than part 2. I thought the Flash version of this crossover was way better. I thought the Oliver Sun business kind of bogged down the episode a little bit. Whereas every time we were like fighting Vandal and we had the Flash and we had the whole group there, it was exciting and electric. And then every time we went to Oliver Sun, it was just like, okay, when we get back into that stuff.
Yeah,
it was a weird thing that they threw his kid in this crossover, which should have just been all Vandal Savage.
It should have been an all Arrow episode.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, no, it felt like it was just kind of shoehorned in there. And I'm with you. I agree 100%. I thought part 1 was a lot more solid. This episode was okay, but it was a little disappointing towards the end. I'm not sold on Vandal Savage yet. I mean, we'll see on Legends. Maybe they're saving the best for that show. But again, the whole thing with like Connor or William, I'm still going to call him Connor.
He's Connor, damn it.
He's Connor. He's Connor. It didn't do it for me.
Mr. Campea?
I'm going to differ on this. I thought actually tonight's episode was a little bit stronger than last night's. But I will say what you point out is completely accurate. Look, we needed to see something going on. We needed to progress this thing because we've been hanging on it for like 2 seasons now about something between Oliver and his son. This wasn't the place to do it. Yep. And that little plot device being a weight on the episode is kind of the counterpoint to on last night's episode, Harrison being shot and will Jay come in and save him. Those are the two mirror things that these were plot issues that didn't need to be in each other's episodes. They could have been saved for another episode. Still, overall, I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was really great. They kept Laurel's stupid, ugly mouth shut, and that was a big positive. But no, I thought the action was great. It was nice seeing, when you guys are in here watching Arrow, I catch glimpses of it.
Sure.
And one of the things that I've been kind of saddened to see in Arrow, and this leads into tonight's episode, is the fact that I always liked the fact that they were using Arrow as the DC television version of Batman. And I know some people thought that was level that as a criticism against it. I liked it. I liked Dark Oliver.
Yeah, everybody here, we like Dark
See,
Oliver.
I like it when, like in the first Arrow Flash crossover, when he's in Central City and he's with Team Flash there, just, but if any of you ever tell who I am, like that, like even superheroes tremble in his presence. I like tonight we saw a little glimpse of that Oliver again. So I really like that, and I am sold on Vandal Savage personally. I thought there's a lot of Christoph Waltz in him, but and I kind of dug that. So yeah, for me overall, I really quite enjoyed it.
Cody?
Thank you. I actually enjoyed this episode better than the first one. I like the fact that Hawkgirl and Hawkman were basically served double purpose as a plot device to use the crossover, and it was effective because, that's the reason why I like episode 2 better, because we had a bigger embodiment and development of these two characters, as well as leading up to Legends of Tomorrow. And also I like that, like you were saying, you get to see Oliver kind of grim and unhappy, and you get to see Barry take the reins and kind of be the voice of reason in this episode as a switchover from last year's crossover. So I liked this one better.
I've always had a problem with people saying like we've gone to the future. I can't talk about the future because I'll ruin the future. Like I can't go back in the past and talk about the future. But in this one, they didn't dwell too much on it, which I really liked. It wasn't like I can't say all right, I'm gonna tell you everything. I really like that. I don't know which one I like better. I thought that overall it was a great crossover.
Much better than last year's.
I agree.
Way much better.
Yeah. I thought this one really moved really well. I agree. I don't think the boy and I don't think the Harrison Wells storyline fit so much in the plot line. I think it should have all been based around how to take down Vandal Savage. I thought there were some very convenient parts, but overall, I thought they did a really fantastic job. I don't know. There is that Dark Oliver I wish would come out more. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
And there's something, we've seen a couple of teasers and whatever for Batman v Superman, and it's great to see a dark Batman because a dark Arrow would never let friggin' Barry Allen come in and kind of tell him what to do. But there are some moments where Barry Allen is the voice of reason, and it sort of makes sense because Batman needs a little bit of her, Arrow needs a little bit of a...
Do you think after last season how they stressed the whole Oliver's done or Arrow's done, he's Green Arrow now, do you think they would ever even go back to Dark Oliver? I don't think they would.
I think the moment they sense that would be best for the show, I think they could. Now, will they is another question altogether.
Well,
I think it's possible.
I think that's what they're probably leading towards with whoever's dead in this
And
grave.
that's
That's
a
what I
great
was gonna
point.
say, yeah.
Great point.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely the reason why he's going to turn dark again. So, and yeah, but Barry Allen had to give him like a reason to freak out.
Yeah. I agree.
So I think it works.
Can I bring up something though that is going to be the elephant in the room until somebody brings it up? And I'm sure all five of us are just
The
waiting to bring
Betamax
this
thing?
up. Oh my
Yes.
god!
That
The
was
moment
ridiculous.
when Captain Buckles shows up and pulls out a Betamax tape, and then Felicity goes, "Well, this isn't 1970, whatever,"
Found
and she
it, got
just
it.
steps behind her lap. Guess what? There is no Windows or Mac app that you just wave a Betamax tape in front of your laptop and it'll start playing on the TV. I'm like, what? Come on,
Yeah.
give us some credit.
Unless the only thought I could think of was like they're out in a farmhouse, right? And
Yep.
the only place I've ever seen is like you go to a terrible vacation house that's way out in the sticks.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they still have a VCR. They're like they've got a Betamax.
It was a flat panel TV.
Yeah.
I saw no machine there. I was like, what? Wait, what?
That was ridiculous. Yes.
Yeah. So what's your elephant in the room?
That was the
That was
elephant.
the
I mean, come on. So
yeah.
that has got to be one of the most ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can't figure out a way how she's going to play it, then don't say it's a Betamax tape.
Right.
So at least say it's a VHS.
And really and truly,
Those
it
around.
it didn't really move the plot along at all. They knew what this guy was going to
I
say.
actually disagree
Okay, go
because
ahead.
that videotape is
It
the
did.
biggest Easter egg in the entire episode because it's the professor and he's from, is it Saint Roque or Saint Rock?
I think it's Rogue.
I thought it was
It's
Rogue.
Roque, Saint Roque, and Saint Roque is the classical DC Comics town of Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Also, in the Legends of Tomorrow trailer, you see the group of them in 1970s clothes walk into Saint Roque University, which is where that man is. I guarantee you, we see him on Legends.
But what they should have done is had them show up with a USB drive and say,
Yeah.
because it was transferred footage,
Yeah.
say,
Yeah, totally.
we went in some video archives, we found this, instead of playing with the bit.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately,
All of us
it's not
stopped
a
at the
big
same
deal,
time.
but
Yeah.
But it's silly.
Everybody
Yeah,
in the room was
silly.
just like, what?
It was like
Yeah,
2
yeah.
seconds later. It's like, there it is.
Well, that was our negative amongst the group. Positives for the episode, Cody.
Like I mentioned, just seeing how Hawkman and Hawkgirl and their relationship and his history and all that stuff, and Cisco's lines all the time. I really appreciated that. And
Always good.
He's
Yeah.
going through a lot of heartache, but he's dealing with it really well.
Cisco was the true, I would say, MVP of this crossover because it felt like
Both episodes,
Yeah,
yeah.
and this episode, he had some really strong scenes, and he played him so strong. That actor, Carlos, I don't know his last name.
Yeah.
He built that
I
power
want to
glove.
say
Yeah.
Mencia, but
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that.
I thought it's unfortunate because both times they've showed any kind of love interest for Cisco, it's been the sister of Freeze guy,
Yeah.
right? Captain Cold, right? And now it's been Hawkgirl, and she's like, I'm out.
Well, he
Sorry.
has to wait until they introduce Gypsy. That's a deep cut.
There
That
you
would
go.
be, that would be cool.
Nothing
Yeah.
but the hits.
But the line of the show, the line of the whole crossover thing, though, is you're just mad because my conditioner game is on point.
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
the line of the
I think
crossover. That was
crossover,
yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah.
What were some of the positives you probably?
Wait,
Oh,
wait.
sorry.
She's not
Oh,
done.
Sorry, Cody.
Well, I'm sure everyone has many, so I will just give one more. But my favorite one, my big positive, was the special effects when everyone kind of burned through the.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I know you said Josh was very T2 like.
Yeah, Linda Hamilton T2, and she sees all the kids burn in the.
Yeah.
I love how Barry was
awesome.
outrunning it. That was really cool.
And then everybody in the cabin and everywhere. That staff melts the whole city.
Yeah.
That was a really,
And I got to
really
see
cool.
Laurel die. It'll never happen again, but that was great.
That was one of your pluses.
Mr. Medina,
That's why he's
positives
here.
from the episode.
Actually, Kaori, you kind of touched on this with Barry. I like Barry's maturity in this episode.
Yes.
I think he's grown to be a lead. We saw like last season, he's very mature, and there are moments this season we kind of see the immaturity still. But I mean, you could see him like make the tough decisions and even kind of keep Oliver in check. Which is I think what he needed, especially building his own like team Flash around Flash. So it was important.
I thought the biggest positive of this episode was just the crazy idea that this episode exists and that there were scenes in a living room and a kitchen where there are like 20 people in this room and they're all heroes. And just the fact that when Arrow started, would we have ever believed, if you would have told any of us on this panel that you're like, oh yeah, season 4, Hawkman.
Yeah.
We'd have been like, get the hell out of here.
We're in a bastion of riches with these superhero shows.
Yeah.
And the Legends of Tomorrow trailer, even though you guys have said they're crazy over budget, look incredible. And I love this world that Berlanti and DC and all these superheroes created. It has really lived up to expectations. It hasn't really dropped a ball. John, positives on the episode?
No, I usually lead off with this, but it's true. I continue to be impressed with Stephen Amell. He's come so far as an actor from those first 6 episodes of Arrow season 1, when I already liked the show. And despite the fact that I didn't like seeing them jump into this side story, the sun, and back into
but
this.
I thought his final scene with the sun was really strong.
Really nice.
Really strong.
It was really nice. And I totally agree with what you were saying, Mike, about seeing the maturity of Barry. We are seeing evolution in these characters. Yes. We are seeing them change and grow. And seeing him at some points, like you guys were pointing out, being the voice of reason. But I still like they're staying consistent when, quite often still, when it comes down to Oliver and Barry will defer to Oliver in a lot of, when they're having a disagreement. It's usually Barry goes, all right, because he kind of recognizes him as the more seasoned, the more experienced. I thought I really did like, and some people were kind of laughing at, but that final scene where they're fighting Vandal Savage, I like the way that it was one big whole coordinated, choreographed scene. I like the way that played out. And like I said in the opening, I am intrigued with Vandal Savage. To be honest with me, this crossover, because of Vandal Savage in them, has made me more interested, because I haven't been tons interested in Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, really?
To be honest, I have not been. But seeing Vandal Savage in these episodes has increased my interest in it, and now I'm really actually kind of looking forward to seeing what they do with it.
Yeah, I thought this crossover really got me interested in Legends of Tomorrow, because we did see so much of Hawk Dude and Hawk Lady. I think that my biggest positive, maybe just from this episode, and I think we should talk about the whole positives and negatives of the crossover as well, but of this episode, I really thought that there was a moment where Barry stepped away from being little brother Barry to being like buddy Barry,
Peer.
of like peer Barry, of like, we're running this crew together. Look at what we can do together if you listen to me, Barry, and you listen to me,
they did
Oliver.
a couple nice nods to that too, because the Green Arrow and the Flash, they have a relationship through the comics, and the scene where they had the negotiation with Vandal Savage, and John Barrowman's there, Stephen Amell's there, Barry shows up late. That is a classic Flash trait. Barry Allen is always late to everything, even though he's the fastest man alive. Yeah. But you were talking about the getting you more excited for Legends of Tomorrow. I thought it was interesting for me, besides the Hawkman stuff and Vandal Savage, I expected this to be more about Legends of Tomorrow. Like, I was surprised we didn't see Rip Hunter. I was very surprised the Atom wasn't in it. Yeah. I was surprised that even though we went to Central City, where they said in a previous episode that's where Sarah is, we didn't see her.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been too much.
I know, they had like 25 people in one room.
Might
I
have
get it.
been.
I think they've been doing, especially Arrow's been doing a pretty good job this season of building up towards Legends that I don't think it was really necessary. Again, like you said, there's already so much going on. I didn't need it.
I thought that there would have been 2 people that would have been in this crossover that weren't, and it's definitely Adam and Sarah. And so the fact that they weren't didn't disappoint me, but the fact that they could and should have been, because there were parts when you're like, well, I mean, he's just left. Like, Ray Palmer just left, and Sarah is right there. If Laurel made a call and was like, "You need to show up," because they could have used all the help they can get. But I thought that overall, that this whole episode and maybe the crossover was dynamic. I mean, it was a great 2-hour movie. It really was. I thought it was.
No, it was really
good.
It was like together as a whole, when you piece them together, I think it's a very, very strong 2-hour episode.
Yeah. So I guess negatives from this episode.
The beta.
Michael, take it.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
we
already
got the
covered the beta.
I think that's the biggest one. I mean,
look, let's call a spade. That opening scene of tonight's episode, when it's like 4,000 years ago in Egypt.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, first of all, whitest pharaoh ever.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, Justin Bieber on the throne.
Didn't we learn our lesson from Exodus Gods and Kings that people are going to
it's at least she
looks
maybe could fit in there.
Yeah.
But that, like, seriously, the prince might as well have been holding a surfboard and saying, "Yo, dude," like in that Egyptian throne room, and that was very jarring.
Space rock's coming, dude. Gotta get out.
Totally, that was very jarring.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the flashbacks were kind of lame.
I was a little disappointed with the very final scene where we see that Merlin is scooping Vandal Savage into a cup and being like, "I'm gonna resurrect you." I actually would have much preferred it, I think, if we saw that dust and then he just reforms himself.
Do like a Terminator, a liquid Terminator, and come back together.
I was thinking that same thing too. Another T2 reference.
You know, so like, is he gonna take this jar and drop it in the Lassie
That's
pit?
what I keep
Is that what's
thinking.
gonna happen?
I mean, I guess so, but at the same time,
Good
it
Lassie
was
pick.
kind of perplexing that Malcolm Merlin showed up last night, and
Yeah.
then again, and we didn't really understand why he keeps appearing out of nowhere.
Well,
but then
he's
it all
doing
made
very
sense
little
at the
in the
end.
fight.
It's so he can show you how he comes out of the shadows.
It made sense at the end when he was picking up Vandal Savage's dust. So
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, he was going
The
after
thing
it.
that I think we've learned about Malcolm, one of the things I love about him is that he always has something up his sleeve.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So if anything, by scooping up Vandal Savage, he's going to find some way to have him work to his own advantage. I don't know how, I don't know what his end game is.
Or do you
but
think he owes Vandal something?
I don't see what
You know.
I thought when they dusted him and then walked away. I was going to yell at the TV. Have we learned nothing from sci-fi movies? When the bad guys like that, you split them up into 8 pieces and take them in 8 different directions. Put them in 8 boxes.
Yeah, like take it, throw it in the ocean, burn it, throw it in a volcano. I don't know, whatever you have to do. I kept thinking of like, are they going to sweep him up? They just left him there?
Like maybe Malcolm,
Yeah,
but
I know,
maybe
right?
Malcolm was.
He
to
was
that
charged with-
Maybe he was taking some of them and separating it from the rest to keep him from.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
don't think so.
I know. No, the dialogue leads you to
Yeah.
believe otherwise. But I'm kind of thinking maybe it's. I don't know.
You know that League of Assassins thing? They're always about, doing something that has some sort of metaphysical, I can bring him back to life, nothing ever dies, that kind of thing. So I guess
What-
that makes...
I also, just crazy theory. I
Yeah.
wonder if, like, in Legends Tomorrow, they're just going to be like, well, he's alive in the future. And so maybe one of the plot lines are going to be like, we got to find this jar. Like, somebody has a piece of him.
Oh,
you know.
absolutely.
Yeah, so-
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess maybe overall thoughts of the crossover would be kind of a good thing to go into next. Maybe like positives and negatives together. You thought from the crossover. You start with
No, don't make me start. This is
Java?
hard.
I think one of the most interesting. Well, it's not really kind of weird if you think about it. The scene where Barry hugged Oliver. Stephen Amell again was playing very serious, but it's very awkward. And then Barry says this line: I could hug you and you would never know it."
Yeah, like that was very rapey.
Yeah. So what?
Just
other-
Look
Let it
out,
happen.
ladies! Here comes the
Yeah.
flash.
Yeah. What else has he done that nobody knows about?
And the fact that Felicity saw him like flash the
Yeah.
thing in the pocket,
Yeah.
you were like, "Wait, does your hand make lightning too? Like, it's just in the pocket." But overall, like your feelings, maybe positives and negatives from the crossover, maybe something you would have liked to seen or didn't see.
I would have loved to seen just a mention, a little nod to Rip Hunter. I'm surprised that we've kind of set up the whole Legends team. Most of them, I think all of them are set up basically now.
They're all there now,
They're
yeah.
all there now, except for Rip, and maybe they're saving him for the pilot. I don't know. I would have loved a nice little wink or something.
Well,
know?
you said prior to the show starting, when we were in the viewing room, you said, "I bet Rip Hunter shows up," and I was, wow, I didn't think. Yes,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
damn right, and I totally agreed. I thought for sure. It's apparently not. Though.
No,
For those out there that don't know exactly what Rip Hunter is going to do in Legends Tomorrow, just give like a brief synopsis.
Rip Hunter is basically the doctor of Doctor Who to the DC universe. He is a man who is a time master, is what he calls himself, and he fixes the wrongs of the universe. So he's the ultimate time traveler.
Okay, cool. Medina, thoughts?
Actually, the thing I liked was how they handled the whole Vandal Savage, tying that into Hawkman, Hawkgirl. Because I know
Yeah,
I was
that was
watching
nice.
this, I was like, none of this sounds familiar. Like I don't get anything. But no, it made sense. It was believable. It made sense how you would tie him into these characters. Much better than I guess him being a caveman. Touching a meteor, right?
He probably still is a caveman.
Well, no, yeah, he is. But this was at least more believable, aside from like that opening
Yes,
scene.
yeah.
But that was cool.
John, overall thoughts?
I just love when we get to see these not just these 2 characters, but these 2 casts interact. I really do. And some of my favorite moments from both years of the crossovers have been when it's just a bunch of them standing around, whether it's in Felicity and Oliver's place or in one of the caves, that they're just standing around, and the banter and the interaction. That has been one of the strengths of both of these shows, is the quick dialogue, the banter, that sort of thing. And seeing when you get to see these characters who don't often interact, and then they have those interactions, I find that really entertaining, and I enjoy it a lot.
It's like a work happy hour when you don't really see a lot of people in the office and then you get together. Yeah. Kaori?
Okay, my turn. Overall crossover thoughts. I really enjoyed it, and I wish that we could have more of these. I think that they should have more.
That's
of
what
these.
makes me feel.
I think we're going to see plenty of them now that Legends is
One
gonna
every
jump.
half season.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I think you'll start seeing 2.
Oh, wow.
And I think I think it was really, really smart of, like I said in the very beginning, it was very smart of them to use these 2 heroes as catalyst for the 2-hour episode of a crossover, because it's really important for us to get invested. Like now you suddenly want to see Legends of Tomorrow, and I really enjoyed it. But I will be, I forgot to mention this, but I will be in the minority here, is I actually really did finally enjoy watching Oliver interact with his son. And I know it was maybe not necessary, but I think it was because Barely Allen was trying to save him from making a mistake, which he ends up making twice in the end of this episode. So
I like seeing him interact with his son. I just think they should have done it in a different episode.
Yeah,
like separate from that
totally
story. That's
agree.
but I was looking forward to that, absolutely.
Or like, they're still in Central City after this episode, or he goes back or something because he sees it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's a moment that's so central to Arrow, and again, like it's so far out of left field in this 2-part crossover.
Yeah.
Like it would have been much stronger if we saw more scenes with Vandal or even John Barrowman or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that moment, those scenes are so essential to Arrow that it seems weird to put them in this crossover.
And then it's like, because he and Felicity got into a fight about his son, he's not focused and the world dies. Like the world gets, his whole world gets melted.
Yeah.
And like it's a little extreme.
I think that makes sense, though.
Does it?
If you got broken up, wouldn't you have trouble saving the world?
Yeah, but
And had a kid?
I also
I
would
mean,
be
I
like, da-da-da. I don't know. There's like, when you're in the moment, you're not really thinking about your son and the woman that scorned you, right?
I don't
Wasn't
know.
it a little bitchy of Barry, though, when after he time travels and he's walking with Oliver, and Oliver says, "What went wrong? You did. You were distracted." It's like, no. I saw the fight. You got your ass shot and were rolling around on the ground while the staff was there for the taking.
Right.
While Oliver was fighting Vandal Savage toe to toe, and he got bested. And but no one else can see it. So what went wrong? You did. No, really, that was the problem.
But nobody can argue him because he's like, well, nobody
he's
can
the
see it in
only
the
one who-
future.
Well,
So
again-
he's just-
Again, there was another very awkward Barry moment that in that past timeline where Felicity and Oliver are fighting, Barry comes out the door and then just stands there, lets them fight.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stand
then
here and watch.
Yeah. He doesn't. Most
Oh,
people would be
geez,
like,
look at the
"Oh,
time."
we go back inside." No, he stood there.
I think he's already established he's a bit of a creeper.
He probably gave him hugs.
Yeah, a lot of creepy Barry hugs. I will say one of the things, I think this crossover in these episodes together, the most inconsistent thing that they did was Barry's speed. Was
Yes,
like,
yeah.
Oh yes, thank you.
When Vandal is throwing knives, Barry's like, I gotta get these things. He's
and
stopping
barely gets-
bullets.
In part 1, don't they say it was 1,300 miles is his fastest speed?
Yeah.
Mark 13 or
Yeah,
whatever.
Mach 2 or Mach 3 or whatever. And then in this one, he not only does he stop bullets, but he goes and finds a moon rock in 2 seconds that they needed.
in a museum, and it's less than 2 seconds, like a second. Back. It's like, wait, you have never moved that
Exactly,
fast.
exactly.
You barely caught the knife last time.
Right.
So,
that was one of, I guess, my issues with the whole crossover. I say one of my other negatives about the crossover, and there weren't many, but I thought the negative of the crossover was that Diggle had really no role besides bringing in the van, right? He was just like, start the van, here comes Diggle, right? And listen, Laurel obviously has no
That
point
Diggle,
in
yep.
anything either, so I know John was psyched about the fact that Laurel had a small role, but like Diggle
screamed.
did nothing. Like he was around, and every time
the
something
van
happened,
didn't drive itself, Josh. Okay? The van did not drive
The
itself.
best moment that Diggle had was in part 1 on the Flash where he threw up after the Flash
that's
moved.
so
That's his
funny.
best
It's like,
moment.
every time.
I gotta get used to that. And he always has like some smart aleck remark about metahumans and
Yeah.
immortals. He's like, never ceases to amaze. John Diggle. All right, well, let's go into some Twitter questions. Thank you guys. Always hashtag it, hashtag Collider Arrow if you want to ask us questions. We appreciate all of your tweets. This one comes from Jaden Smith. Will Smith's son? Why is it
Big fan of Arrow.
huge Arrow fan, loves Karate Kid? Why is it that no one can keep a secret on these hero shows? It's ridiculous.
Unless it's from Patty, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless it's from Patty or the dead girl's father, who is also the police captain, is
Right.
supposed to be a detective and figure this stuff out on his
Anybody
own.
that may have superpowers, like show him the Arrow cave.
Well, it's the thing. Like I remember it was either the first episode or the second episode of Flash this season, and there was a scene between Joe and Barry in the office, in the desk, the bullpen of the cops, and Joe West is like, "So Barry, you just gotta run faster, right?" And you're just like, you're in a room full of cops.
What are you doing?
It's one of those things. It's like the Clark Kent glasses. I think it's one of those things you just have to ignore. Like
Yeah.
identities are just willy nilly. And again, I feel also I'm full agreement. I think by the end of the season, Oliver's identity is in the open.
Okay. Yeah.
That seems to be the way they're going
Yeah.
right now.
I mean, yeah, sure, it's something that we have to choose to ignore, but at the same time, they make it a big deal about hiding their identity.
Yeah.
And then
So
anytime
how
they
can
want to,
we-
yeah,
But now 45 people know exactly who the Arrow and the Flash are.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because that would happen in another earlier episode of The Flash this season, the one with Linda. And it's like,
yeah.
it's just, I mean, it made no logical sense. Barry goes, "Well, I'm asking you to trust me, so I should trust you in return." I mean, because once I touched your boob once, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
boom, hey, I'm the Flash. What?
Yeah.
Like,
Come on. Medines, what do you think?
No, I agree. One of the things I love about superheroes is just how complex their lives are. Like, okay, don't hate me, but I'm gonna talk Spider-Man for a second.
Okay.
Growing up, like reading these Spider-Man comics, you hear about like just how difficult his life was balancing between being Peter Parker and being Spider-Man, and I love that inner conflict. And you don't really get that on these shows because everyone in the mama knows their identities. And it's like if you're gonna say that your secret identity means something to you, then have it mean something to you, and don't tell the whole world. Unless, and I agree, I think Oliver at some point is just gonna be like, I'm the Arrow.
Yeah.
I'm your mayor and I'm your Arrow. Yeah. Okay, next Twitter question. This one comes from Nick Vargas. I feel this episode, even with the time jump, confirmed that it is indeed Felicity or even Sandra. I think we're saying Samantha, his baby mama, in the grave. Your thoughts? Well, we never really said Samantha. We've said Felicity on the show. We've said Lance. I mean, if it's Samantha, who's the kid's mom, I wouldn't. It's such a minor character. It
yeah,
hasn't really.
I think it has to be.
not
a
enough
well,
impact.
but
very
yeah, but now that you know who she is to Oliver, emotionally, that wouldn't be minor. That would be significant.
I'm sorry. I did also see a bunch of tweets where people think that it's the son, it's William.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, I guess that is a possibility too that we probably wouldn't have thought of
But
before
that
this
is a
episode.
dark place to go.
That's what I'm saying.
That brings
even
back
for
murder or Arrow.
Because
Isn't that
like,
what we
but if
want?
that's what it takes to
Yeah.
bring that
Nasty.
Oliver back, then
And
maybe
it
I'm all
would.
for
It
it.
hopefully
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that if Samantha was the one in the grave, would we as viewers believe that he is that hurt about it compared to someone else that's bigger?
And the argument people have always given is, why does Flash show up at the grave if if it's somebody important or it's so much to Oliver? And Flash knows about this son and has kept it a secret, so he knows about the mother of his child. Maybe that's why the Flash shows up. I just don't see it being a dynamic enough of a grave scene for us to all be so to really be a payoff for the show.
The Flash could just be showing up because Oliver is his friend. The Flash doesn't have to show up because he knows who's in the grave.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he just knows that my buddy is sad. I'm there for it. I also think Felicity is way too obvious, and I also think she's such a great actress that to take her off the show now would just hurt the show.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
I agree. I've been saying that since the beginning.
Yeah.
Felicity's way too obvious. I'm thinking it could be Samantha. Just because
Really?
us as viewers, the impact may not be there, but for him, I could see it just
And they wouldn't-
rocking
and they
his
wouldn't lose
world.
anything.
Exactly.
And to go to your point, Jason, if in the Flash universe, if I don't know, if Cisco died and whatever, and Barry had to go to the funeral, you have to believe that Oliver would go and show
The
up
whole
to
team
that
would
funeral.
probably
Yeah,
show up.
the whole team would probably show up. So, oh man, I've gone back and forth from Lance. I just don't see Oliver getting that. Upset, but I don't see him being emotionally torn to his core if it's Lance. The options are narrowing. They are narrowing.
And also, too, we talked about the kid. Yes, it would be a very dark place, but you've mentioned that you think he's going to come, that his identity is going to be revealed. If it's his son and then he goes back to murder Oliver, now you got a murder vigilante Arrow who's also the mayor.
Think about an interesting season of that would be, though. If he's good mayor to the public, And then, so say they hold the secret identity a little bit further, like so he doesn't reveal his secret identity. He's good mayor, but behind the scenes he's
Dexter.
murder. He's Dexter.
Yeah.
That
He
would
goes
be an
full-blown
interesting
Dexter.
turn,
That would be
and especially
interesting.
if he has to deal with the police being like, "Well, the Arrow's murdering again. You got to stop him, Mr. Mayor." Well, let's send one patrol out, not two.
Now, I have a question. We all know that Roy's coming back to the show, right?
Yeah.
Do we think that it could be Roy?
No.
Do we think that that's? Well, I mean, he was a member of Team Arrow.
If
So
they did,
there's
though,
a connection
if they
there.
did, I think that is a disservice to the fans. You just set the fans up at the very beginning of the season to say this, and then just to reintroduce Roy, because now we're going into the mid-season finale. So what? Bring back Roy for 3 episodes, and then he ends up being the guy? That would be an incredible disservice to the fans who watch the show.
Well, here's
I
another
think.
question I'd love to give to the panel. They said from the first episode that in the interviews that they had no idea when they wrote that scene who's in that grave. We're at the mid-season point. Do they know now?
They probably
Do you think they've decided?
I don't believe them. I never believed them from the begining.
That they
Okay.
did.
I mean, they knew who was going to be
Oh,
in
you
that
think
grave.
they know
They
who's in
can
there?
say that all they want. If they didn't, then they are the most incompetent group of showrunners
Because
in
you
the
would
history
start
of
the
the show.
season with that grave and work your way back like Breaking Bad.
I don't know. 'Cause
I feel like-
I kind of think they didn't have an idea.
I just feel like the more my wheels are turning, the more I think it's William, especially since they had to put William in this crossover episode to have Barry Allen be kind of invested in Oliver having a son, and then Barry Allen is right there.
That's a
at
good
the-
point.
Yeah.
It's a very good
Yeah,
point.
it very
All
well
good
could be.
points, man. This grave is becoming the friggin' eye in Breaking Bad.
Hey,
in the
by the way,
pool.
I haven't had a chance to say this, so maybe you guys have gone on this on a big thing. Can I just say, for a episode 1 of a season, what a brilliant device that was.
Yeah.
For an episode to end that episode at the grave, that sets up the rest of the season for you and gives you a North Star for your season. What a great move that was. That was brilliant.
And also the fact that we've come up with 37 names on this show alone,
And we
think
keep,
should be
we
great.
keep it, and that just means it's a good television
Right.
show. If you're constantly like, oh, maybe it's this person, maybe it's this person.
In every episode we watch now, we think, "Where's the egg?" It's something of a foreshadowing for who's
Yes.
in
I
that
have a
grave.
question for you guys. Do you guys think that we're going to find out by mid-season finale?
I was just going to say that too, because I know we've talked about that on the show.
We've talked about whether they're going to hold it till May or whether they we'll find out in February. You know, because they say it says 7 months, 6 months in the first episode.
I think 6.
I think it was 6 months.
So it also depends how real time are they?
Right.
You know, because if they go 6 months, that would be about February. If they're not real time, then they're going to save it. I think they're going to save it till May.
Yeah, me too.
You know, it's going to be the final episode.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree.
All right, final Twitter question here comes from Dylan Esposito. What do you think of the use of time travel? Could Oliver use that to save the person in the grave? Thank you, Dylan. Hashtag Collider Arrow. Thank you.
I like the use of time travel, but wouldn't it be too far between the funeral and the death to time travel that far back?
Yeah, we never really, the show, neither Arrow nor Flash really ever go into much detail describing to us the parameters of Barry's time travel
how far he
ability.
can do it.
Can he pinpoint a time when he does that speed shadowing? Is it just take you back 24 hours? Does it take, so it's, I have a feeling that by the time Barry knows about the death, we know he's at the funeral, but the funeral's probably 3 days after the death.
yeah.
So, I mean, it might be, or could be, or probably is too late.
And wouldn't that be kind of a cop-out too?
Yeah, because we've talked about the Lazarus Pit and what it's done and the bloodlust and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like every time they use the Lazarus Pit, it's like, oh, well, he didn't die because we can use the Lazarus Pit. It's like Melisandre in Game of Thrones. And I don't think, I agreed. I think that the parameters of the time travel and something like that, I don't think they would use it for something as small as this. Or maybe I'm wrong, but he's used the time travel twice now, or at least the mechanism of the time travel to save an entire world, basically an entire population. He used to save Starling City, and he's used it now to save everybody from the horror staff.
I can see Oliver suggesting it, and I have to believe this season on Flash that they're going to start trying to figure out just how to use Barry's time travel. Because again, I mean, we saw some of it last season, and we saw it this season as well. At some point, they're going to need to address this. Well, how do we control this? I mean, he's got his, his cosmic treadmill that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it'd be kind of cool if he could really figure out how to harness this ability. And I think this is a season when they'll do that.
Yeah, and in the comics, the Flash can time travel great distances. In fact, in the pilot, as we find out, older Barry traveled back to his past as a
Yes,
child.
true.
So he eventually learns exactly how to pinpoint it. I agree with you. I think that there will be a scene where Oliver will be like, whoever this person is, and be like, do it, Barry, time travel. And Barry will be like, no, I can't muck up the time continuity. And that'll create a rift between them.
True. Okay.
But they seem pretty cool at the grave.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be a couple days down the road.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be a setup for next season, maybe.
Right. This grave is presenting huge problems. Guys, that's it. Thanks for watching the Collider Arrow recap show. John and Kaori, thanks for being here. I know, John, you said you'd never come on an Arrow show again, so there wasn't too much laurel, so we did okay.
I was secretly hoping for more. Just so I could rant
Just so you could rant a bit. Jason, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Jawin, Jawin. And if you go to my Twitter right now, I'm doing this Comics for Soldiers, where I'm trying to send 10,000 comic books overseas to all the troops by January 1st. Go to my Twitter, find all the details, and please donate all your old comics.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
That's really cool.
And
That's
guys,
stupid. That is awesome. That is awesome.
guys, you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Michael Lexus, also on Instagram at Mr. Michael Lexus 14. That's Mr. Michael Lexus 14, and with Mr. Josh over here on the Collider AOS recap show.
John?
You guys can find me Monday through Friday on Collider Movie Talk, on Tuesdays on Collider Heroes, on Thursdays on Collider Jedi Council, Saturdays and Sundays on Mailbag, right here on Wednesdays on the Collider Rebels Recap Show, also on Tuesdays on our Flash Recap Show, and you can follow me on Facebook and on Twitter at John Campea.
Nailed it. Look at that.
And to find out where I am, just follow me right down there, Kaorious. That's a lot of vowels. Kaorious. But yes, thank you.
And I'm Josh Macuga, Twitter and Instagram at Josh Macuga. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. here on Collider, as well as the Walking Dead recap show. Next week will be our final Arrow recap show for this mid-season, so please tune in then. Until next time, hood up.
That was smooth.
Thanks, man.